Hey, Dom, do you want to offer chastity key holding but keep your physical address private? Well, you can with the new Secure Key Exchange by Locked in Lust. Sign up at lockedinlust.com to be listed in our exclusive directory and exchange keys discreetly to and from anywhere in the world.
Hey everyone, it's Marabelle Blue. Welcome to KEM Top Talk video version. Who would have ever thought, right? So many things going on, so many technologies that we have here today. I am still using the camera that is on the laptop. So at some point, I'm going to have to connect my camera, which is back there, to this computer so that I have a better quality. So I apologize for that in advance. But needless to say, I am super, super excited at the fact that I'm doing this and I'm going to have guests and it's just going to be amazing. So today's guest is somebody that I met through the Bigger Than Sex movement, through King Lexa. And you're probably going to hear that a lot because it's very, very important to recognize what it is that we're doing. But in the meantime, we have to recognize this guest who is blessing our video stage of the KEM Top Talk interviews and discussions, Dr. Lovejoy. Let's bring her on.
Hi.
There she is. Hi
Thank you
there.
so much for having me, Marabelle. I am so honored to be your first guest on the KEM broadcast.
Isn't this
This is so
exciting?
cool. Yes, and I'm even more happy that Better Than Sex brought us together because we'll get to that obviously at some point, but I love when cool things bring people together
Yes,
outside
exactly.
of just things like Twitter. And I love it. And I'm so honored that you asked me to be on. It's been really cool
It's
getting to meet you.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you doing this. I think when we first started talking, there was this immediate connection, which I
Well,
love.
your accent wooed me immediately.
It's so weird when I walk down the streets here. Well, not now, but when I lived over in Phoenix before I moved into the area that I live in now, I would go to like all these different stores and they would be like, are you from New York? And I'm like, how do you know that? Like I got like really paranoid.
It's very obvious.
Yeah, well, it's like I've been talking like this my whole life. So
I love it. I love it.
and then of course people are
It's
like,
charming.
yes, and people are like, oh, well, when you get here, that accent is gonna go away. I'm like, no, it's not. Let's
You
just
even
get
got the like,
something straight.
you can't take the East Coast out of the East Coast girl, right?
No, let's make sure that everything is even. I
Are you
look
feeling tidy?
uneven for some reason.
Did you feel like you had one tit over here and one down here?
Yeah, well, you know what it is? It's the blouse. It's it looks, oh yeah, I see it now.
Do you
Sorry,
shift in
everybody, that
public?
you're gonna see me fixing myself.
Well, that's a topic in itself is shifting. And do you shift in public? Like, do you care? And will you just reach in? Because I won't. Like, I'll just get in and just do it. Like, because we have to put them back sometimes when at least the natural one. I don't know what it's like not having unnatural ones, but with natural ones, they got to lift and put them back,
Exactly. Exactly.
especially in the
So
summer.
I know it seems constant for some reason. It's insane. But let's get started. Let's talk about you. And let's talk about your humiliation therapy tactic and how that all came about for you. How all of this began for you. Let's get started from the beginning.
Well, it begins with prior to my sex work uh, jaunt, which I'm in. I was in the entertainment business dealing with men. And all men all the time. I was in music, so I had to get men to play my songs. In order to do that, I was spending all my time talking to program directors and music directors, which at the time the majority were men, and having to persuade them to do things for me, which was play my records, whether they were good, whether they weren't. So for over years, I developed this skill of being on the phone with men and getting them to do things for me. Now, I had no idea that yelling, not yell, sorry, I don't yell, I take that back. That talking shit to guys was a whole thing. So eventually, as the entertainment business started crashing and Napster came in, my job ended up getting eliminated. And it doesn't even exist anymore. And a friend of mine who is a pervert said, hey, I've got a friend who
We
started
love
a
those
phone sex.
friends.
Love our friends. His name is Jeff. Hey, Jeff, if you're out there. So this is like, this is what, nearly 20 years ago. And he said, you should check out phone sex. I went to Google, because yes, there was Google at the time, put in phone sex, and there was some company that doesn't even exist anymore that was out here. I even think the domain was like phonesex.com, whatever the company was. The thing was you dialed in. I didn't need to go to an office. You dialed into this number and calls would come at you. So you didn't even do anything. You just worked for these people. I was like, oh, whatever, passive cash. I think it was $20 an hour. So I'd call in, you sit there on the phone and you wait, and it would be like this, beep, Asian. And then I would be Asia. I would do my best Asian, or whatever that is. And then you hang up, BBC. And I'm like, what? And I don't know what these things are, by the way. Okay. So these things are coming at me. And then one guy, a person called up and said to me, he's like, you don't need to be doing this. You can actually do your own thing. And pointed me to Night Flirt. And went on there, looked at that, and I started Googling all these things and started seeing, oh, I'm sorry. I signed up for Night Flirt, and I was immediately getting calls. And again, this is so long ago that it was like shooting fish in a barrel to get calls. Okay. It is not like that anymore. You could You've been on Night Flirt forever too, right?
Yes, exactly.
It was
sometimes
so,
it comes through, sometimes not. It really all depends.
14 years ago, it wasn't that way. 14 years ago, you logged in and it was back to back to back
Immediately.
calls. Immediately. So as I start this, and I didn't show my face and I didn't use content at that time. So it was just like, whatever, a torso, no nudity. I'm getting these calls and I'm getting these requests to talk down to, instead of like, ooh, ah, baby. And I don't know what's going on, but I know that I'm really good at it. And it's working. And then I start researching things and what do these words mean? And I have a hat, I threw it out. I had a whole 3-ring binder I made of all the terms and things people were asking me, because I didn't know what the fuck's cuckold. What is that? I don't know what I don't know what femdom is. I know it. To me, BDSM is it's black and white. It's a dungeon and thing. I don't know what anything is.
Right. That there's all these different facets that come in the world of BDSM.
Zero idea. What I thought I was getting into was ooh, ah, baby, fuck me, suck me, blah, blah. It did not turn out that way. I immediately knew I hated that, and I hated getting those calls. And then I realized, oh my God, where it's at is basically doing what I do best, which is quick, sharp-witted jousting. And other than that, my voice, and there's other like crap that I do too. Not crap, but my techniques that I do, like speaking like, hi, this is your Dr. Lovejoy. And I'm gonna go so deep into your mind and mind fuck you. So anyway, long story short, I started get on Night Flirt, and immediately, again, I'm going to say this because too many people think you can just start making heaps of cash the second you start, and that is not the case, and it's certainly not the case in 2020. In phone sex, this is. I don't do KEM, so I have nothing to say on that part. But I'm immediately at this time, so long ago, I'm making more money than I made in a corporate world. And I'm like, fuck no, I'm never turning back from this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just started expanding from that point on as I was building. And eventually, because I live in Los Angeles, I knew there was opportunity to start, wait a minute, I'm not going to ever use myself. I'm never going to go nude or anything. So why don't I start hiring women? So I started dipping into the local talent pool, which this is long before clip sites and long, and then I would start building up sites and I would be the voice, and I started a whole thing then. And this is what I do best, is the humiliation with a twist of comedic joust and
Right.
therapy. But it's more
Mm-hmm.
than that, really. I do go really deep with my clients. I guess they like the way I serve it, which is a
Now,
non-traditional kind of therapy.
right. Now, here is the question that I want to ask. The doctor in Dr. Lovejoy, is that real? Is that role playing? Is that,
It's
what is it
about
for
as
you?
real as my name, honey. I ain't a doctor and my name ain't really Lovejoy. I'd like to just, I think I'm more of a doctor, and that's with a
Right.
Doctha.
Kind of like
Uh,
that Long Island accent, if you will.
yeah, which is why I kind of like to call myself a nouveau therapist. I'm a different kind of therapist, but
Right.
I, like you, really are providing a form of therapy. So
Hmm. Hmm.
I am a therapist and a doctor of, I am a doctor. Yeah, sure. I am not a, I have a PhD, a physical
Hmm.
PhD? No.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Because, sometimes there are
And I
people.
never claim it. I don't ever claim it. I don't put it
Right,
anywhere. I don't claim
exactly.
it.
Because there are people who will claim it without the
Yeah.
education,
Yeah. No.
and they
No,
don't
no, no.
realize that, hey, this is a persona that you put together, and people get off on that. There's
Yes.
something
Uh,
erotic about it. You know what I mean? If somebody is calling you and saying, "Doctor, I really need to
yes.
talk to you about something," it's something like that.
If I had an actual medical license, they would take it away because I am so unethical. It's not funny. I mean, I'm making, as you see from my audios I sell, I increase addictions
Yeah,
instead of, which is
exactly.
my version of helping. Yeah, I mean, look, the more you masturbate, whether, if it's 2 hours, should be 10.
I was reading
That's,
that last night and I'm like, okay, here's something that I've never seen before. And it's good to have that originality because, the internet now, we're in 2020, it's so saturated in the short period of time
yes.
that it has grown. And you have so many people coming in out of the woodwork and mimicking people and saying they're this and they're an educator. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Or
everybody's an educator
marketing,
now.
like they're a marketing expert. You just have like
Everybody's a
so,
marketing expert now.
yeah, you have so many of these experts, and at the same time, I think it's good to have some level of education. I put myself out there now. I have my business enterprise coaching that's opening up or that opened up. I mean, it's like I have 63 credits in business management, marketing, and communications. Might as well put that to good use, right? And help people out who are looking to market and brand, etc. Yes. Got to do that shameless
Yeah.
promo.
I mean, look, you want to know what my education is? Where as far as sex therapy, 15. Sorry, I take that back. So now it's over 16 years and thousands
Mhm.
of phone calls. Uh, I've heard way more than any sex therapist and logged in way more any hours at this point. I should have a fucking slip of paper because I can pretty much dissect anybody's going backwards, which I do. We like most of my clients. I have clients that stay with me for long years. We go back in time. Like that's my favorite thing because I always eventually we chit chat a lot, my clients and I always get to the point where I'm like, how the fuck did you get this way? So let's talk about this. I want to go back to childhood. So yeah, I've got the education, I guess. Yeah, it's a damn good one too. It's the school of hard knocks, as they say.
Let's talk a little bit about, because you delved into a little bit about phone sex when it originally started, and then coming into night flirt. I mean, I don't know if you remember the 970 days and
Poor 976.
right. Well, wasn't there a 9702?
I don't even know, but that sounds like a zip code. You're like, wasn't it a 9702?
I know that was
There's
976, that's for sure.
976. It's the 800, the 800
Mhm.
number, and then 976.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of prank call. Also, let me just preface all this and as say, this is definitely what I was born to do because I was real big on crank calling as a kid. And this is long before there's phone tracing. And my friends and I would, besides crank calling, like you could send pizzas to people. It's really fucked up. Could send pizzas to people's houses that didn't order pizzas because, they couldn't trace it back then. And sometimes, yeah, you really, but oh my God, did I love crank. I still love crank calling.
Oh
I would,
God, I'm
if
cracking
I
up
could, I'd
because
do it now left and right.
when I lived in Staten Island, it was so funny. My friend and I, we used to call all these different cab companies and have them go to the address next to us because I had the front window of my apartment. And we would call like a bunch of them, and they would all be there, like honking the horn,
That's
wondering
fucked
where's this
up.
person.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. Is that awful? And just think now, like, now that you're an adult and you see, like, God, I messed up with somebody's day,
Yeah, and
right?
not only that too. I mean, I think back then, in defense of our pranking, it was purely innocent. It's like
Totally. But you didn't know.
you're
There's nothing else
pranking
to do.
today about the FBI breaking into somebody's gamer, and it's like, okay, wait, like now you've went a little bit too far when you have like the sheriff knocking on your door. That's an entirely different story. But yeah, I used to get so much out of it. Like we had so much fun, and it's funny because today's her birthday and I wished her a happy birthday. I said, I want to wish you a happy birthday before I get on and start recording. But yeah, those were some good days.
Yeah, cranking is good. So I've always had some weird affinity thing. I mean, I guess even when I was in entertainment, my job was primarily being on the phone because I'm dealing with people in every state, was dealing with people in every state. So it was kind of the same thing, except, I didn't tell guys to go fuck themselves in that way. I had to more kiss. And that's actually, here's a twist for you. Because I had to get them to do, I needed something, I had to kiss their asses. And it was always a weird thing. Like at any music convention or anything that we did, it was always, I had to, I had to kiss their ass to get them to do what I wanted. Now the tables have turned
Right.
and now it's the other way. And it's funny because I see now that so many of these men were sub probably. And I probably, if I talked to them the way I talk now, oh God, I would have really been a rock star. I mean, but I can't compare my 15 years ago to what I know today, but I
Were
see it
you
in
able
men. I
were
see
you
it.
were you able to retain a lot of the people that you had from the beginning? Like, are they still with you today?
Well, this character has only existed for a few years, actually. And I've never, before this doctor, and the only reason I ever started showing myself was because I did a radio show. And
Mm-hmm.
eventually people were going to see me because I'm going to go out in public and do public things. But I have dozens of phone characters that are the years old, like this. So this one is really only a few years old, actually. Which so, I'm sorry, what was it? Wait, what was that original question that I is it,
Well, I was trying to basically gauge if a lot of the people that
oh,
you
do I
spoke
retain me?
to at
Oh,
the
oh,
beginning
so
are
yeah, I
still
thought you
with
were,
you today, because I think, in the business sense, that it's
yes.
important to have people that have been with you for a long time
Yes. Oh, I
and
have, yes,
and keeping it interesting.
I have one person that well, now calls me under Dr. Lovejoy, but called me under something else for many years. I've been with this person for so long that
Hmm.
I've seen him go from, he's a sissy. and I made him, turned him into his first sissy and had him suck his first dick. And I've known him so long that I've seen him go from dating to not dating this girl to meeting a girl to dating her to getting engaged to they are now married. And he is still a total sissy, still privately sucking dick. But we talked on his wedding day. So yeah, I have a lot of longers from different ones, but that I've revealed to them at the Lovejoy thing now because I'm like, hey, you want to see me? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever the case is. Yeah, I've got lots of a long time. And some people come and go. They float away for a year, 2 years, and then they're back and they're like, and it's weird because sometimes it feels like I just talked to them.
You bring up a good point. The person that you're with, he's married now. And I remember maybe a few months ago, I had seen somewhere on Twitter about if a person is engaging in outside activity, phone sex, i.e. phone sex, having real life BDSM sessions or even online sessions, and the spouse doesn't know, is that considered a form of cheating? Like, what is cheating? What does it stand for? What if it's not considered cheating?
I guess it depends on your spouse or your partner, whatever your parameters are. I would want to discuss that with the person first, right? Like, I guess I would say to my partner, how would you feel about, or what's cheating to you? I guess you just ask the person what's cheating to them. To me, would it be to me if I caught mine? I wouldn't prefer it. I would want to know about it at least. Or actually, no. What are we? Phones spending. It's the spending money part that I would want to know about. I don't care. Like, you jerk off to porn like all day, all night. I don't care what you do. It would be where are you spending the cash? That's the part that I would be most curious about. I mean, I don't know that I would want somebody to be tributing hundreds of thousands of dollars to somebody,
right?
And then we're going to dinner. That's it, right? That'd be horrible. So I guess it's
that is a good point. That is a good point.
To me, watching porn, buying porn,
right?
Everybody does it. It's just jerking off, but the parameter would be what you're spending and how you're spending it.
Well, that is a valid.
What about to you?
I mean, think about it. If I had a partner that was secretly spending money that I didn't know about, I would look at it as cheating, because it's like, why are you doing this? What's the point to it? But I'm a different kind of a woman, so I think that
that's what I'm saying. To me, that would be the annoyance. Yeah,
right. I would basically be forward about what kind of relationship that I would like to ideally be in, instead of the fiasco that I was in last year.
I think most women don't have the knowledge or are afraid to actually ask their partner what their kinks are in the first, or they don't even know what their own are. I'm talking your average person here,
right?
Like walking down the street, USA woman. If you and I walked out to the end of the corner, yanked 3 women off the street, and we're like, "What are your kinks?" and you tell your partner, they'd be like, probably like, what? I mean, I think it'd be hard pressed to be like, well, I like to spank his nuts, I like to flick his dick, and I like to peg him hard, right? So
yes,
we're in a different world. But if everybody knew about it and talked about it openly, it'd be a whole different subject. Don't you
exactly
think?
I mean, of course, I agree with you on that. I think that it's so important to communicate with your partner about how you view your relationship, even beforehand. I mean, I have asked, I'm in the middle of this relationship project. I'm looking for people who are in current relationships and not vanilla relationships, but maybe they met under a vanilla circumstance, and how they came to the understanding of how their relationship is today. And I think it's really important, because if we're not communicating those things to each other, how can we be a better role model in our community? How can we say that we have this experience and not have the experience, or share about it? Do you know what I'm saying? We have a lot of people that can talk this game of that they know the answers, but they've never lived the experience. I can't tell somebody how to be a parent to a child if I've never raised another human child. However, I have dogs, so I can tell you about how to take care of Yorkies and what happens when they're pregnant, because I've been there for like one, two, four births, you know? So I know all of this stuff. And if somebody needed help with that, I can help them. But if they came to me and they said, "Hey, Marabelle, I need help with my child, you know, I don't know what to do." I'm going to tell you, I don't know what to do either. I mean, I can give you suggestions, but I can't tell you how to parent your child if I've never had that experience. And, you know, with all that being said, I think it's important how we communicate with one another when we're going to be in relationships. So I want to ask you, when it comes to people pursuing relationships and they're apprehensive about sharing their kinks with another person because they're afraid of being judged behind it, have you ever gotten phone calls like that? What have you advised to them how they should pursue it? Is there a realistic time frame to say, "Hey, you know, I like to wear women's underwear"? I'm just throwing like examples out because it could be anything. You know, it could be a man likes to wear high heels, or maybe he likes the feel of stockings, you know, that another woman is wearing, and they like to feel the stockings rub against their skin. Anything at this point. So, how do you go about advising or helping or suggesting to them?
Well, usually my number one first go-to suggestion, if they feel like they can't just be open about it, is to start by going very easy with things. Let's just say it's something like it's just your mild BDSM thing. I always suggest to your regular folk, start with some movies. Watch a movie together. And I'm not talking even porn. I'm talking mildly vanilla, like 50 Shades of Grey. Watch something like that with your partner. And then during it, when they show the scenes that you're maybe interested in, whether it's getting tied up, because that's, start light, right? Before you really throw it into somebody, "Hey, I want to fully cross dress."
Yeah.
uh, you know, I guess the other person knows who they're dealing with as well. But I feel like ease it in, watching a movie together, and then during the scenes that you gauge their reaction. How are they reacting when they see something like that? Like the show, I have a friend of mine who, do you know the show Billions?
I've heard of it.
Okay,
I've heard of the show, but I've never watched it. And
there's some BDSM scenes in there, and
oh, well then maybe I will start watching
yeah,
it.
it's mild, but it's important because he's a corporate person in the.
Mhm.
So it just shows you that it can be your base anybody. It doesn't
Right.
matter who this
Mhm.
person is, who goes. And his wife is also in on it. She dominates him as well, and they sometimes go together to a
Mm.
dungeon. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
really hot, and she's a therapist, and you would never know that's her. Anyway.
Yeah.
So one of my clients uh, was watching it with his wife, and I asked him, "So, what's it like when she watches those scenes? What is she thinking? Does she say anything?" And he said she just doesn't even get it, or it's just like, "That's really gross," or whatever. I'm like, "Figures." Like, so she thinks that it's just like, creepy, whatever the case is. I'm like, "Okay, so now you kind of know, though, you get what she thinks of it." So there, if you watch something with somebody without throwing it on them, kind of gauge how they feel, and then you can start peppering in questions. One of my sissies, I'm like, "Does your wife watch Drag Race at all? Like, maybe start watching Drag Race, and
Mhm.
and then do something fun, like, what would you want to see me in makeup?
Mhm.
Just
Mhm.
like, do you think I'd make a pretty girl or anything? Just start with questions
Right.
without freaking somebody out, and then gauge it. And look, if it doesn't work, and that I
Mhm.
have done a lot of clients that say, like, there's not a fucking chance if I told her she's going to be into it. Nothing. There's no way. And then I say, "Okay, so then you do what you live, have it your side. I don't think it's a cheating thing. Just, as long as it's not inflicting anything bothersome on anybody else in your family, and you're
Exactly.
not affecting people around you and humiliating anybody unintentionally, and
Mhm.
keeping to yourself." That's what I'm here for, and everybody else, all of us sex workers that specialize in that. That's what we're here for. you know, we're just a piece of somebody's life in a way, and we make it easier for them. So harmless, so great.
I don't even argue with that point, because for me, I feel like if it's helping somebody, even if
Yeah.
it's helping their sex life to be healthier, to be more nurturing and understanding, I'm all for it. Believe me when I tell you. For me, I feel like since I started my magazine, that it has really been about healthy education across the board, whether it's BDSM, whether it's just your natural sex life, whatever the case may be, that it helps you be a better person in your relationship. Because sometimes people can get bored.
Yeah, and then there's the huge majority of guys that don't even want they don't want the partner to know, because
Hmm.
so many of the clients themselves are filled with so much self-shame that this is their dirty secret. They wouldn't want anybody to know they wear panties. It also is their turn on. Part of the kink is keeping it to themselves, that, they're this astute person in society and they're really just a bitch. And we mean that in the best way. Bitch meaning they're got some hot pink panties on with a pretty bow on the underneath, but on the outside, the wrapper is very masculine and head of some company, big CEO guy, but he's just a sweet, delicate flower on the inside. Except when and then they call us, and it's like they want to hear that, oh, you fucking pussy ass bitch loser.
Right.
Pull down, take your suit off, put your panties on, get on your knees, and go stick a dildo right in your little pooper.
Let's talk a little
Right?
bit about, right, exactly. Let's talk a little bit about humiliation therapy, how that came for you, and how has it been for your clients? Like, has it been a wonderful experience?
I'll tell you how Dr. Lovejoy really came about from my other calls, and realizing that I get callers that talk to me forever. Like, I do a lot of long calls.
Hmm.
Like, my average calls are long.
Wow.
Because they talk, they're
Hmm.
calling for therapy,
Yes.
whether they want to be a girl or whatever. So from all of my other characters that I do, I had started to just kind of put together that I'm ending up having a lot of long conversations that are therapeutic.
Hmm.
And then I had also seen, sorry, I take this back. I was also inspired by a show, which I highly recommend. It's the greatest show that just for some reason never got popular, called Web Therapy with Lisa Kudrow. And basically, she
Oh.
does all the therapy, and it's the funniest show. It's online. So she is a web therapist. And I saw that, reminded me of me, because she's just witty. It's just funny. You have to see it. And I was like, oh my God, that's basically what I do, except I want to do this with a femdom thing.
Right.
Then which then became femdom, became humiliation therapy, and that's where it was born. And I realized that's what most of my callers are. They call for conversation and humiliation mixed into one.
Hmm.
If that makes any sense. I mean, we can talk an hour or so on why they're so pathetic, and then we break it down. What makes them a loser? Like, I'm currently have a new guy right now, and we talk about why he's so pathetic, and he mocks himself, and then I mock him back.
Hmm.
Like, I'll give you an example. He sent me a photo. He's very, very large, obese guy, and he calls himself a fat piece of shit constantly.
Hmm.
So then in
Hmm.
turn, I know that's what he wants to hear. If he keeps saying the word, I know that he wants me to make fun of his weight.
Right.
So he's telling me, I'm like, oh yeah, you're such a fat piece of shit. And then he tells me today, I know he flies a lot on an airplane.
Hmm.
So, he loved to hear things like therapy is like, wow, for somebody who flies a lot, it must be very difficult because you're the fucking fat ass that nobody wants to sit next to on a plane. You're the person that we see and we're like, oh God, I pray this one doesn't get next to me. Just things like, and he, loves it and wants to talk about that.
Right. Right. I think
And
that's
it just
great.
goes, but yes, he loves it. He loves it. I don't, yeah. So it was just born out of this whole, I think it's comic relief to these people, actually.
Yes. Yes.
And it's putting it in a, I don't do like, I don't yell at people. I'm not into that. I don't need to excessively say fuck all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's more just a cutting deep that they want. And I like
I,
it. It's just fun.
yeah.
It's fun. And I think what makes it more fun for me is I know that it's not 100%, it's not serious, and they know that it's all in good times. And that's
Right.
I don't want to fuck anybody's world up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not into the blackmailing thing, fantasy. I'm not into that. I just love a good fantasy fun time. Don't you? Like I'm not
Yeah.
here to
I mean,
for
I do. I'm not like, I'm more like erotic. You know what I mean? But
you're
then at the same time,
sensual.
I do like to have that sarcastic, like evil, you wish you could have me kind of a
Yeah.
thing, but you can't because you're not worth it.
Yeah, like getting dressed up thing was never going to be my shtick because I don't do that. That's not my
Yeah.
thing. Like
Yeah.
big makeup and the whole thing and the
Hmm.
heels is never going to be me. But this will always be me. I feel like if you're going to do something really great and be great at it, you got
Yes.
to kind of embody it somehow. And I'm going to deliver me the best,
Hmm.
having that, not faking it.
No,
I'm
you're
not
right.
not fronting that part. So I'm delivering what's pretty real.
I
I
always
mean, it's
say
fake
that
character, but real.
nurture what your strong points are.
Yes,
I have
100%.
seen people talk about how they were doing all of these things, coincidentally, the same things that I've been doing for all of these years, you know? And I'm saying to myself, well, where were you all of this time? Because I've been around for quite a number of years and I've never seen you. I've never heard of your podcast. So I'm not sure what it is that you're talking about. And I think what happens is that, um, just thinking about the bigger than sex movement and the empowerment message, and also helping survivors, that it is important that we all nurture our strengths and not look at other women and say, well, I can do that and I can do it better, in a
Yes.
vindictive and jealous way. And when I look at other women in my life that I've connected with recently, I just enjoy everything about them. Like when you get to know King Lexa, for example, there are times that she just has me cracking up on text messages and things that she does. It's like what you see on the internet, that's her. But then there's also another side of her that you may not see on the internet that she's not sharing, but it all is her. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just
100%.
one person. And it's
Well,
like the same way with you. Everything that you're doing is still part of you. You're not doing anything different because you saw somebody else
yes.
doing it and now you need to incorporate it so that the attention is on you.
100%. And I have to say, it is so, by the way, Lexa is so true. I hung out with her in real life. And yeah, like I don't say, we talked about that on another show, actually, is
Mhm.
being with her is like, you don't think you're with this, like she's going to bend me over and stick a butt plug in my butt like her videos.
Yeah.
She's just this really amazing human being. And then on
Yes,
King Lexa online is King Lexa online. But yeah,
exactly.
it's not like we were going to the bar next door and she's, plugging the guy next to me because she's with her big, she didn't whip out, she didn't have a huge big daddy dick, like, and be like, excuse me, can we get another bar stool for my dick? Yeah, no. And I think a lot of people do actually take themselves a little too seriously with that kind of shit too.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely,
But I love
absolutely.
the coming together thing is kind of amazing. And I do think that more, even the young people who start, just because you see somebody doing something and like, oh my God, I already know how to do that. I can do that too. Well, just do what you're really good, do what you're greatest at, and then blow that up.
Right.
Like blow that up. I mean, that for me is how it works. I'm pretty sure that that's a business 101 as well for anybody who's.
You know, the thing
for business.
about business and everything that we do, we, like I said before, we all have our strengths in what we're good at. It's the presentation. How are we going to put that out there? This morning, I came up with an idea. I'm not telling anybody what that idea is, but something came to me that I realized that's not being done. And the only one person that I spoke to is my ex-boyfriend that I've been friends with for like the last 20 years, because I trust what he's saying. He's had his own business for years. So who better to talk to, another business person that can envision what it is that you're seeing in your head. And I've learned my lesson about sharing things with people, because then what happens is that people try and take that and execute it on their own, and then it ends up being a big fail. And then if you try doing it, you're going to look like the copycat trying to take a failed idea and implement it in here. So I've learned that when you have an idea, write things down. I mean, I have a notebook. I write everything down. I'm old school. A lot of the times I don't use Microsoft Word to execute my ideas. There's something about having my pen, and now I don't know where it is, but I wanted to show it off. Oh, here it is. There's something about
Pen.
having my little pen.
Oh, you how cute your pen is. You have a legit pen. I bet you've got good handwriting too.
Sometimes, not all the time. But I think, there's something about the power of the pen on the paper that makes all the difference in the world, that you can legitimately understand your ideas. Because when you're taking that pen and you're writing it onto the paper, you're still executing some form, the laws of the universe or what have you, whatever it is that you're looking to do, and it becomes more real for you. And in the business sense, that's what I believe. I had a really great marketing teacher when I went to BMCC, and he knew about my magazine. I was very forthcoming with him in the project that we were doing. And I said, I want to be able to understand the publishing business better. Because when I first started my magazine, I was just thinking, I'm going to have this blog online and other people are going to be blogging along with me. And we're all going to be venting and talking and women empowerment and all of this stuff. And then when I saw that that idea really wasn't working, it lasted for the time being, but I needed to change things. And how was I going to change things? And then before you know it, just people started coming forward. Well, why don't you do interviews? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And there's so much content that I have, like on my drive, that's still not up on the magazine, that one day I will, I think, just to kind of revisit, look at what we did back in the day, kind of a thing. I think it's just great. I think it's great that in the business sense, we can all continue to learn and be able to brand and rebrand what it is that we know. And you have the humiliation therapy, and that's your specialty, and you can always rebrand that, take out things that may not be working now and shelve it for later on and use something else. That's what makes you. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%. I actually can take an audio that I made years ago, repackage it and sell more now than I did years ago. I mean, granted, I
Right.
have more clients, but you have to do that in business. You have to be able to keep reinventing yourself. You can't be a one-trick pony. A one-trick
Absolutely.
pony only works for so long before. Hey, look at Madonna's the mother of it. So
Yeah.
you just got to keep reinventing
The
yourself. If it
mother of
doesn't,
reinvention.
yeah, if it once it peaks out, just take what you're great at and then twist it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing what
Exactly.
you do. And Gaga's the exact same thing. Gaga will always be Gaga, but she comes just she does what she does they all do what they do best, and then they
Right.
just remix, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But focus on what you do best, and then keep what I see a lot of people don't stay current either. They stick with what their shtick is. Let's say it's even like a whatever, things tap out, but I feel like things just kind of trends come and go. You got to flow with the time. Just the one trick pony, I personally don't believe in. You got to
Yeah.
ebb and flow with the trends.
And I think as well,
Not
when
saying
you're,
develop an entirely new personality, stay with your
no,
thing,
right.
but retool it to whatever is the
Mm-hmm.
add a little currency to it.
Yes, exactly. And like I said, it's sometimes it's hard to be original, especially since a lot of the ideas haven't been done. But I'm sure there are many of ideas that haven't been done, like the one I thought about today.
I mean, most things has been done. Everything's almost been done, whether it's been done with this such a twist on it. Because
Right,
it's like we're not recreating the world here. The world's been
right,
created, right?
exactly.
It's just a spin usually on something that somewhere somebody's got some
Yeah,
form of it.
yes,
But
exactly. And I guess that's what you can call it. It's a spin of something else.
yeah, but something that hasn't been done, and that's
Right,
amazing. It's
right.
Yeah, there's a lot of people youngsters out there who borrow. I see, but think about it. It's too easy. I think if you don't know, I mean, not everybody's ethic has great ethics, and
Hmm.
I feel like it's just so easy now with the bazillion articles that are out there on our genre of sex work and field
Hmm.
that I'm gonna just make an look at OnlyFans right now.
Right.
All our articles are out there left and right. Like I showed my feet and I got $20,000 last month. Right? Wouldn't
Yeah.
you, if you're 19 or whatever, 20, whatever the fuck you are, coming out of seeing that, you read that article and you think, really, I'm going to show my feet. I'm going to go online. I'm going to show my feet. And I'm going to make that much money. Wouldn't you just watch whatever that person's doing on that site, do the
Hmm.
exact same thing because you think that your feet are prettier and make the exact same site? Much much easier than having to do any work or thinking of being original, right?
Yeah.
When I see Marabelle Blue's site, why don't I just take look, your magazine does great. Why don't I'm gonna do the same thing because I'm gonna do it
Yeah.
better. So I'm gonna
And
just
I've
copy
and
your
I've
entire
seen it
thing.
hundreds of times. I've seen it
Too
hundreds of
easy.
times, and it's just I this is the reason why I went to college, because I wanted to understand how to manage my business better. From the outside, people could say, I'm going to buy a domain name, I'm going to interview people, and it's going to be so easy, and people are going to advertise. And it's like, guess what? Good luck with that, because that's not the way it works. People want to see numbers, people want to see products, people want to see consistency. And if they're not seeing those things, if they're not seeing that your heart is into it, they're not going to be interested. And not just in advertising, not getting people to spend money on you, but also to get people to even be on the site, to be interviewed, to read the content, to be interested in what it is that they're reading there. And I
Yep.
have to say that I'm blessed, because since 2002, do you know what I'm saying? That I've been around,
But
and
you're good. But you stay around because you're
because
good
I
and
love it.
consistent.
It's like I love
It's a
this
combo.
community. Right.
You're good,
Mhm.
you love it. That's what makes success, though. You can't just be like, it's not luck. I mean, there is always I take that back. It's a dash of luck.
Mhm.
Everybody needs a little luck. But if
Mhm.
you're not good, if you're not delivering good content, and if you are not passionate, I assure you, it shows. When I had a guest on that wasn't kind of in there, you can tell. You just, when somebody is not into what they do fully understood. It's like a robot. I do
Mhm.
take calls. I do phone sex. I tell guys they're losers. Tell guys they're losers. Fuck
Whatever.
you, loser. Whatever. Go fucking pay me. So, it's just, yeah. There's a lot of work. You cannot just you can go and just rip somebody off. Go
Mhm.
have fun. Maybe great for like the first month, but not sustaining a business is, as you're saying, you have to be good. There's more
I
than good.
want
You have
to
to be more than good. Work hard.
I want to mention something more on the serious side, because believe me, I'm enjoying all of the comedic stuff.
Yeah.
But on more of the serious side, I was on Twitter late last night, of course, in my bed, like once I shut off the laptop and turn off the TV and had my fill with friends, I go into my phone and I'm seeing some tweets that really concerned me, and I don't know how valid they are, but apparently there just seems to be more of this FOSTA SESTA thing coming up, SESTA, um, that there are people who are survivors who are deliberately trying to infiltrate in the adult community and trying to bring it down. And is that something that will ever happen? Like, do we see something like that happening? Do we see the adult community flourishing from and I'm talking about flourishing, like rising above all of these people that want to come in and say what you're doing is wrong. It's sex trafficking, it's this, it's that. And it's not that. It's people who enjoy doing these things and making a living out of it.
I don't see it going away anytime soon. Unfortunately, I think we are still in too much of a religious country type thing where I don't think that it's just accepted. I don't see anytime soon it just being like, oh, okay, sex worker. It's okay. Where it should be okay. I just don't see it. But I don't see anything collapsing. I mean, I do see a slower rise as things slowly progress. But I don't see the big change happening anytime soon. I think,
Mhm.
I mean, look where we're at with racism and the problems that we're
Yeah.
currently at in current
Mhm.
situations, and they're almost going backwards. It's like
Yeah.
5 steps backwards, 5 steps forward. So personally, I love the crusading and I love the fighting, but do I see a big turn anytime soon? No, I just don't.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
just being realistically, I don't. But the fighting for it's better than ever, bigger than ever. But slow. I think it's a slow change. What
Yeah.
about you?
I think that at some point, this whole thing is going to blow over. I don't know how, but there this is not going away. The sex industry is not going to go away. Adult
Never,
entertainment is not going away. It's
never.
not going to go away. No matter what it is survivors think or say, religious organizations, it's just not going to happen. And at some point there has to be some kind of common ground. And I think that just goes with everything, not just with the adult world, but just people who are constantly battling what politic party is right or political party is right, what religious right is right. It's just, I think at some point we have to live and let live. And I don't make this a secret, but a lot of people know that I've been clean and sober now for the last 29 years. And when I first got clean, um, I wanted everybody to come in and
Right.
have this experience with the 12 steps and say, hey, listen, you don't have to use drugs. You don't have to drink. If you're drinking every day to get outside of yourself, you don't have to do this. Come here and be clean. And, and then you just realize that you have to let people have their experiences and you have to let them live. And the other thing is that unfortunately some people have to die. You can't just save somebody, because sometimes when you're trying to save them, there's nobody there to save you. And it's just kind of deep. I guess just thinking about it, I don't want to like get all into it, but it's just something that I've learned in life, that when people want help, they will ask for it and they will respect the direction. But at the same time, you have to let people believe in what it is that they want to believe without you inserting or infiltrating. I mean, I see it on Twitter every day. You know, this poor
All
girl
day.
on YouTube. She was a YouTube star. I've never heard of her, unfortunately, because I do watch some people avidly on YouTube, my little ghosts, you know, paranormal stuff that I love to watch, as well as one particular girl who does like makeup and things of that nature. And she passed away. And they didn't say the specifics of what she died of. She was 8 months pregnant.
Oh, with the
And
baby.
yeah, and it was
Okay.
horrible. It was horrible to see that. And I'm looking on the internet like, oh my God, like what happened? You know, they said the last video she did was a milk bath. And I was like, was there something in the chemicals? You know, like you start thinking all of these things because there wasn't any specifics as to why she
Well, they
passed
said she
away.
had a massive heart attack now. I think that, yeah.
Oh, okay. See,
Yeah.
I didn't know
Horrible,
that.
right?
Oh,
Yeah,
and then
horrible.
there was a girl who tweeted out, I should have included in my stupid tweets. Well, the healthcare system, because she was African. I don't want to say she was African because she had, I think she was from London or Great Britain. I want to be correct over here because she did have an accent, and beautiful, beautiful Black woman. And right away, this girl assuming that it had to do with the healthcare and she wasn't getting health care right because she was Black. And it's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, where did you come up with that one? And this is just an example. I don't want to get into the whole thing, but that's just an example of assuming certain things. She has no idea what health care this girl had. She could have had astounding health care, but you're just going to assume that because she was Black, that she wasn't getting correct health care. And that's why she died. And I think in that regard is where we have to be really careful about what we put out on social media and what it is that we say, because we can't just be assuming human beings and think, well, I'm going to put this out and who cares what anybody thinks, and then get yourself in trouble as a result of it. So I think that, we have to be mindful and we have to be careful about what it is, what we share, how we represent ourselves, how we go about our business. And no, I mean, I don't think, going back to the original question, which I asked you, no, I don't think it's going to go away, but we have to find a way to live in harmony. And the way things are going today, I don't even know if that's going to happen.
I don't think in our lifetime,
Mhm,
because it's the divide is way too great. And
mhm,
our country isn't, we weren't raised with looking at Amsterdam where it's legal. Nobody
mhm.
cares. It doesn't mean
Right.
anything. Who cares?
Mhm,
They don't care. It
mhm,
doesn't. It's meaningless.
mhm.
That's not how our society has been raised. You're
Right.
from day one. You're taught like that. That's illegal or whatever. Or you see in movies like Pretty Woman. You know,
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
arrested, illegal, whatever the case is. That
Right.
it's not. It's naughty.
Mhm,
And I just, yeah, until things make a drastic change. Look, gay marriage just happened.
mhm. Yeah,
It just
exactly.
happened a heartbeat ago, and still people are plenty mad about that. So I
Mhm.
think our fight is still just, it's moving, but it's going to be slow.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Unfortunately, but hey, look where we're at right now. We're in a
Yeah.
fucking people. We're in a place where we've got, I don't know, X 100,000 some people dead, and people think COVID doesn't exist. So
Let's
I
not
don't
even
know
get
even know what to.
started on
Yeah, I
that.
don't even. So if that's some kind of indicator of how our sex workers are going to move, we're fucked,
Mhm. Yeah,
right?
exactly. Exactly. Well, we're at the end of the show, sadly. We don't want
Thank
to
you so
bore people,
much.
but I just want to say thank you for being on the show. Do your shout outs right now, even though I've been putting them up in the banner. Anything that you'd like to promote, please do it now.
You just find me right now on Twitter at Femdom Therapy, and you can get me at text Dr. Lovejoy, call Dr. Lovejoy. Just get me on Twitter. All my bazillion linksters. That's a problem with us sex workers now. We're like in 10,000 places. We barely have a home base. I'm hoeing all over the net.
I know, right? We're just
Yeah.
maneuvering everything that we can.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for opening up this platform that I'm doing now, and I'm so excited about it. And I don't have anything else.
Thank you so much for having me and considering me to be your first guest. And you want to quickly talk about Better Than Sex
no.
before we go?
Huh?
You want to
I
quickly
knocked
talk
my
about Better Than
keyboard.
Sex before? Oh shit! Can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you.
Oh, I was going to say, you want to quickly talk about Better Than Sex real quick and give it a shout out?
Yes. Let's do that for sure. Let's do it.
Started by our
So,
King Lexa, our daddy,
yes.
our favorite daddy Dom, lipstick daddy Dom.
Yes, follow the Better Than Sex movement. I did not put it in the banner, but I can create one right now. We keep saying Better Than Sex. It's actually Bigger Than
Oh
Sex.
shit, you're right. Oh my God, you're right. Bigger
And
Than
you can
Sex,
follow
everybody.
them on Twitter at Bigger Than Sex. And I'm going to put it right over here so that you can see it. The movement is helping survivors through the Cupcake Girls organization. King Lexa had coordinated it. I did a podcast interview with the Cupcake Girls. It's now live on anchor.fm. And the wonderful thing about this platform that we're doing here now is that it can also be a podcast and it's going to be a video interview. So if you can't watch us for whatever reason that is, you will be able to hear this interview in its entirety in a podcast. So follow Bigger Than Sex, follow King Lexa, follow me, of course, and follow Dr. Lovejoy. Her link is right over here. And you can see what the movement is about. And of course, there's articles on kinkymagazine.com or kinkymag.com. You can log in with either one. And I've also created a account page. So now you can actually subscribe. It took me forever to figure that one out. Oh my goodness. And that's basically it. You can find all of the information on Kinky Mag. I want to thank Dr. Lovejoy for being on the show today. It's amazing. It's a little weird because everything that I do is on podcast. So I'm going to end the show like the way I end all the shows that you hear me say. Now you can physically see me saying it. Always remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Peace out. Thank you.
Bye.